Vinyl Collection Part 45 within this series, finishing up the T's and going to start the V's within this part, so going through a few letters. Other than that, what's going to be playing in the background is going to be Death Karma with their debut full-length album, History of Death and Burial Rituals Part 1. They followed it up with a Part 2, which is their sophomore full-length album, which is pretty good. But this right here is some really killer stuff, as it's the members of Cult of Fire, and they play within the same style, the only difference being that it's more death metal focused. So the best way to compare it is that Cult of Fire plays in the style of epic black metal, and I would say Death Karma is the closest thing you can find to epic death metal. It's really killer stuff, and I'm really fortunate enough to find a copy at a record store, so definitely check this out if you haven't. Kicking off Part 45 is going to be Tsjuder with their third full-length album, Desert Northern Hell. This was released back in 2004. And what's quite interesting about these guys is that they were kind of late to the whole Norwegian black metal scene, as they're from Norway. And they weren't really making a name for themselves into the early 2000s, as they were only releasing short little demos prior to their full-length material. But Desert Northern Hell is easily their peak, which is interesting because everything else within their catalog is just so mid and okay. Like, it's not terrible, but there's really no standouts with it. I know a lot of people have recommended me the previous album, that being Demonic Possession, which it is good, but it just pales in comparison to Desert Northern Hell. And I think what really worked for these guys to give them inspiration, from my standpoint anyway, what I'm seeing, is that it's released in the early 2000s, 2004. And again, black metal around that time period was just going through such an awkward phase. Like, there was just a lot of experimentation, and all the big names were just trying to reinvent themselves. And what Tsjuder did with Desert Northern Hell and everything they've really ever done is they're just going for the suit and tie traditional sound, and it worked in their favor because, damn, this album slays. Tracks on here like Ghoul and Mouth of Madness, there's so many hooks to it, and it's really infectious but also ass-kicking and powerful. And it also has a bit of like a thrash metal edge to it, but nothing that really sacrifices any of that black metal sound that they're going for. As they self-label it that it's 666% true Norwegian black metal, is what they always label it as. Regardless, this album slays, and you should definitely check it out if you haven't. I feel like any black metal fan can find some enjoyment with the hooks that is within this album. It was put up through Season of Mist. Not sure if it's still available, but best bet is to check there if you want to score a copy of this. But anyway, as for the layout and packaging with it, you have album artwork, backside with the track listings, comes on a gatefold with lyrics inside, and it's just on double LP plain black vinyl. Up next is going to be the debut full-length album by Twin Temple titled Satanic Doo-Wop, which the album title alone should tell you what this sounds like. It's doo-wop music inspired from the 1950s and 40s, only with satanic themes to do with the lyrics. And while the music is really infectious and it's honestly quite creative and pretty cool sounding, the only gripe I have with these guys, and it doesn't have anything to do with the music other than the personality attached with this album, is that the couple that is like the main two members, which they're a married couple, their viewpoints, man, is just so foolish and goofy. Like, they practice Satanism, like, legitimately. If you see any of their interviews that they do, that it's hard to take them seriously as people, because it's not so much that they're practicing Satanism, that it's not that it's edgy, it's more the fact that they come off like they're a part of like a massive sex cult. It's really what this is. Because all the lyrical themes, yes, it has to do with Satanism, but it all has to do with like lust and sex, and just basically, yeah, literally sex is what it is, to the point that it's like, it's just horny posting, but with doo-wop music as the backdrop is really what this is. But again, it's really infectious and really cool sounding, so definitely check it out. Other than that, they haven't really done much other than this full length. They've released a live album and a 7-inch, which 2 additional tracks, but no follow-up. So I'm really curious to know what they'll do after this, if they continue on making new music. But yeah, again, really cool stuff. This was put up through Rise Records, and this is one of these special LP editions that comes within this protective, like, pouch sleeve, I guess. It has, like, velvet fabric, which is quite nice and pretty cool. But here's the actual album artwork, which is quite suggestive, to say the least. But again, yeah, album artwork, backside. This comes on a gatefold with the 2 members in the center, which again are a married couple. Comes with a big-ass booklet with just lyrics and band pictures inside. And this LP edition is black, but however, I don't know if it's going to pick it up. There's all sparkles around it, which is pretty cool of a vinyl edition, I guess, which is something I don't really see all that much. Then I have Ulcerate with their full-length album, Shrines of Paralysis. These guys are from New Zealand, I'm pretty sure, and they play in the style of that of, like, technical death metal. But it's nothing of that, like, wankery, over-the-top flash that a lot of modern technical death metal bands do. It's more in the essence of it being, like, very dissonant and pulverizing and atmospheric. They're often compared to a lot to that of Gorguts. Basically, it is Gorguts' sound, only just more on the offense. Where Gorguts kind of strays away sometimes with some progressive tendencies, Ulcerate is just always on the aggressive offense. And I don't know, it really clicks with me. And I'm not really someone who enjoys technical death metal, but Ulcerate, they do it very well, and I really enjoy their style quite a bit. Need to get more by these guys, but yeah, put it through Relapse, and I'm pretty sure it's still widely available of copies. As for the layout and packaging with this, you have album artwork, backside with the track listings. Comes on a gatefold, double LP that come on printed inner sleeves, so you have side 1 and side 2, along with side 3 and 4, which are just all lyrics and credits, and just comes on standard black vinyl. The only other record I have by Ulcerate at the moment right now is their latest album from 2020, that being Stare Into Death and Be Still. Once again, playing in the style of that of technical death metal that's really dissonant, so again, it's often compared to Gorguts, and some even say they're like the death metal version of Deathspell Omega. And while this album is great and worthy of checking out, my only problem with it, and it's a huge reason why it's not the best place to start out within their catalog, is again, they're going for that dissonant sound, only they're really stretching out those parts to create ambience. And I understand that they're experimenting a bit, but it just deviates a bit too much for my liking. That when I listen to Ulcerate, I want that pulverizing, dissonant, technical sound that they've done really well. And this album doesn't have that for the most part. Like, there's a lot of deviation with the dissonant ambience that they're trying to create. Still, it's worthy of checking out, but not the best place to start in my personal opinion. But yeah, other than that, it was put out through Dever Morty Records, so or Productions, I should say. So go there if you want to score a copy. But as for the layout and packaging with this, you have album artwork, backside with track listings, comes on a gatefold. Double LP, once again, with printed inner sleeves, so you have side A and B with song titles and lyrics, along with side C and D, once again with song titles and lyrics, and just comes on standard black LP. The next 3 albums I'm not going to really waste that much time talking about, because I feel like anyone who is a black metal fan knows these albums by default, and if you don't, it's probably because you're not a black metal fan. But obviously I am talking about the Holy Trinity, as some people call it, to that of the first 3 Ulver albums. This is the debut right here, that being Berg Ta or Berg Tate. I've heard it said 2 different ways. But for all I know, I'm probably still mispronouncing it, so for the time being, I'll just say the debut full-length album by Ulver. But yeah, this album is very substantial to that of not only another great piece for the Norwegian black metal scene, but obviously it was highly influential to that of everything that I would consider to be atmospheric black metal, and obviously would inspire bands like Agalloch. That it's quite obvious if you hear any Agalloch album and compare it to that of the first 3 Ulver albums, Agalloch took a lot of inspiration from this band. But yeah, this is my personal favorite of the 3 because they highly focus more on composition and atmosphere with it, and this album is breathtaking and a black metal classic to say the very least. But yep, this was put out through Century Media back in 2016, and I remember when this was announced, people were jumping on this so quickly because this shit sold out so fast. Because for the longest time it was CD exclusive, and there was always a bootleg LP pressing of this that was hard to come by. So to finally have an official press of it, you best believe people were jumping on this like wildfire, and it was quite hard to get, but now for the most part Century Media keeps this in print, so go there if you want to score a copy. But other than that, for the layout and packaging with this, you have album artwork, backside with the track listings, comes on a gatefold with the lyrics inside. This also includes an insert sheet with artwork, but folds out and you get all notes as to the writing process with this album, which is really cool. And the other side just has band photos. And the LP edition I have is just standard black vinyl, which of course I have their sophomore full-length album, Feldsänger, which is a night and day comparison to that of the previous album, Bergta or Bergtate, where the debut is more of atmospheric black metal. This right here, the sophomore, is just straight up folk music. There's no metal at all attached with it. And I've noticed by a lot of fans that are black metal fans that enjoy Ulver, they'll immediately say that this is the worst of the 3 full lengths. And the reasons for it are mainly because there's no metal attached. It's just a filler album. It's meant to kill studio time, so they just released this to fill up a spot within their discography. And I feel like that's a bit lame of an excuse to hate it just solely because it's not metal. I mean, the tracks on here are really gorgeous, and it showcases that Ulver is willing to experiment with their sound, and I think it's a great addition. And it showcases what they would be later on within their careers, which I know some people wish they would go back to the black metal approach, while others just enjoy the music that they put out. Overall, I just, again, think it's a really good folk album, and I just kind of view it as that, and that's really it. It really hits the spot after like a really rough day at work to really calm my nerves. This album really hits the spot. But yeah, definitely meant to be played during autumn in my personal view. Other than that, again, another Century Media release, so go there if you want to score a copy of this. As for the layout and packaging, comes with the, obviously, album artwork, backside with track listings, comes on a gatefold. This includes a big-ass booklet that has all of the guitar tabs and notes for each song, which is quite different of an inclusion. Backside is just a band photo, and the LP I got is just the standard black variant. And to finish up the trilogy, I obviously have the third full-length album, that being Nattens Madrigal, which is the fan favorite easily because this is Ulver just being straight up, raw, aggressive black metal that so many Ulver fans wish they would go back to this style. Even when they play live shows, I feel like everyone's crossing their fingers that they'll play some material from this. And while I think Ulver's approach with this style of music is long gone past them, again, for what it is, it's a really awesome raw black metal that it still has hooks. There's still a bit of melody for the most part with it, but yeah, I can see why people who enjoy black metal and enjoy Ulver think of this album immediately. And for the longest time, this was a one and only time pressing on picture disc, and that variant goes for just stupid money online. So gotta give it up to Century Media for doing a repress and making this accessible to get. So again, like I keep saying, go to Century Media if you want to score a copy of any Ulver material that has been released. But other than that, for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork, backside with track listings, comes on a gatefold with lyrics inside, and this includes an A3 poster of the album artwork. And the variant I got, once again, is just on standard black vinyl. Up next is Uniform with their album Wake and Fright. These guys, I'm pretty sure, are from New York, and please correct me on that if I'm wrong. And they play in a style of that of like industrial noise rock, that it's very similar to that, I would say, of Nine Inch Nails, but just way more with a punk attitude that's a bit more obnoxious and rough around the edges. Songs in here like the opening track, Habit, and The Lost. The first 3 songs will definitely set the mood. That's very obnoxious, very aggressive. And I like how they use the industrial aspect to give off hooks while everything's just smothered in this really gritty, punk-like attitude. It's a really good album. Other than that, I know they've released other albums and they've done collaborations with that, with The Body, but this is really their only release that they've done so far that really clicks with me. Maybe I gotta give their other releases a second chance, but Wake and Fright is easily my personal favorite because again, it's just smothered with a really gritty punk attitude that just really works for them, I would say. This was put out through Sacred Bones Records, and one thing this label always loves to do is they put their logo right with the album artwork to give off like an old school look of an LP pressing from decades ago. I'm pretty sure is the reason why they do this. Regardless, go there if you want to score a copy because they always keep their records always in print. As for the layout and packaging, it's pretty bare bones. Just got album artwork, backside with the band logo, and this includes an insert sheet with credits on one side, and the other side I'm assuming is lyrics and is just on standard black LP. Now I finally get to talk about this band that I've been a fan of since day one, and that would be Ungfell, or the correct way to pronounce it is Ungfell. But I've always pronounced it Ungfell because I have my own lingo when it comes to pronouncing stuff which is usually wrong. But anyway, Ungfell is a black metal band from Switzerland that is a part of the Helvetic Underground Committee. And I feel like the only reason why this inner circle is known is because of Ungfell. Because this inner circle has like now, I think, almost 20 different bands associated with it. And it's all mainly done by the same members. But Ungfell is definitely at the head helm of it, as it has the most material released. I think, honestly, for the most part, we can all agree with it. Some of the best material that this inner circle releases is put out through Ungfell. And I think why it resonates with a lot of people for a newer black metal band recently is that if I take off this Obi strip, that obviously you can tell this is a Go to Works release, limited to 150 copies, but for all I know it's probably limited to like fucking 2 copies, is that if you look at this band logo, it's really similar to that of the first band logo that Pest Noir used. It has like the same exact font. So I'm pretty sure they used and showcased their influences on their sleeves with a band logo like that. And yeah, they sound very similar to Pest Noir in terms of structure and overall just, you know, sonically, it's very similar to it. But yeah, their early beginnings with this demo compilation that obviously is compiled of all of their demo releases that are like impossible to get. That when Go to Works put this out, I snagged it up right away. But yeah, really good stuff by these guys, and they would later transition to their own style later on. But as for the layout and packaging with this, you have album artwork, backside with track listings and a band photo of the 2 members, and just comes on standard black vinyl. Then I have their debut full-length album, that being Taupe Ring Gyar. And one thing I really like that they did is that they changed up their logo to give their own unique kind of like image. But yes, Taupe Ring Gyar released back in 2017, that didn't get an LP pressing until like 2019 or 2020. Snagged it up right away because I've been wanting this on LP ever since it was released. And yeah, put out through Eyes and Mold. I'm pretty sure it's sold out for the time being, but check Discogs, maybe there's still copies available. But yeah, Ungfell carrying their sound. Again, often compared to Pest Noir still at this point. The only difference I can tell you about it is think of Pest Noir, only it's a bit more thrashy, and the inclusion of an accordion gives it like that folklore aspect, which is their own unique little spin on things. But yeah, if you want like a more thrashy Pest Noir, definitely check out the debut full-length album by Ungfell, that being Taupe Ring Gyar. But yeah, other than that, for the layout and packaging with this, you have album artwork, backside with the track listings and more additional artwork. This includes an A2 poster of the album artwork, which is pretty cool, along with a printed inner sleeves with a band photo on one side, lyrics on the other, and just comes on a standard black vinyl. Then I have their follow-up, that being their sophomore full-length album, that I would say from this point onwards the Pest Noir influences are really starting to fade away, and they're really molding into their own sound. And this is easily their best work that they've done thus far, and one of my personal favorite black metal releases from the previous decade, because damn, how this album transitions from black metal to the folk portions within it. You get more immersed with their just vibe, aesthetic, and atmosphere, and it's a really killer album that I would recommend to anyone who enjoys black metal that wants more of like the folk aspect attached with it. Just overall a phenomenal album that was easy pick for me for like album of the year back in 2018. Wow, it's already been that long. But yep, put out through Eisenwald. Not sure if it's still available because I know they did a repress, but again, that sold out so quickly. So obviously go to Discogs if you want to score a copy of this. But yeah, other than that, for the layout and packaging with it, you have album artwork, backside with the track listings. Comes on a gatefold with lyrics inside. This includes an A2 poster of the two band members, which is pretty neat. And as well, just like everything I've talked about thus far within this part, just comes on a standard black vinyl. Lastly, for Ungfell, I have their latest album from 2020, that being Escrow. But I have two copies of it, the standard edition and the special edition. I'll just showcase the standard really quick. We just got album artwork, backside with track listings, and a band photo. And I will hold the special edition because it's quote-unquote special. But yes, Escrow being the third full-length album by Ungfell, that I would say this is their most ambitious. There's a lot more bells and whistles attached with it, that it really expands upon the folk aspect, and the black metal portions within it have a lot more transitions. There's a lot more different instrumentation going back and forth within it, a lot more yodeling, which is quite unique, and they really, again, expand upon the folklore within Ungfell. My only gripe with it, and it's a huge reason as to why I still prefer the sophomore full-length and say that that's their best, is that it's a bit too ambitious. The transitions really shake up the black metal portions a bit too much for my liking, and while it's still great and worthy of checking out and getting, it's still highly above average, it's not their best, I would say. But still, I gotta give them credit for still pushing onwards with their ambitious approach with black metal, again combining more folk instrumentation and really molding into their own unique sound. But again, you can get this, I'm pretty sure, through Eisenwald, and if all copies are sold out, Discogs is your last solution. And within the layout and packaging within this, which is really cool, the special edition has this disclaimer, which the previous album does too, but I like how they worded it with this. Because within the gatefold, there's this font and lettering all right there. But at the bottom of it, it says, disclaimer, we would like to extend a flaming halberd and sever the heads of all Nazi, communist, and other ism scum that claim supremacy in some form or another. May you be trampled to death by our glorious Swiss cows. Ungfell will never have a piece of your mental diarrhea. I just like the fact that Ungfell's really explicit with saying the fact that they're not basic bitch echo chambering scum, that they have to explicitly say we have nothing to do with politics, because obviously, as much of a boomer as I sound like right now, everyone wants to attach politics in some way, shape, or form with everyone. And Ungfell has to explicitly say in each release that they want nothing to do with it. It has just strictly to do with Swiss folklore, and that is it. End of discussion. But yeah, props to them for basically just stating that everyone who claims supremacy with politics are just basic bitch echo chambering scum. But anyway, back to more important things. With the layout and packaging with this, with the special edition, it does include a CD that goes right there within that fold-out pouch, and just the booklet of the album artwork stapled inside, with just track listings and artwork to go along with each song, which is pretty cool. And I like the fact when bands go the extra mile to include stuff like this within the packaging. The special edition, however, is limited to 300 copies. It also includes a printed inner sleeve with each side has a band photo of both members, which is pretty cool. Along with these cards, I guess, or insert sheets, again with artwork and the song titles on the back side of it. which is, again, another really cool inclusion. But yeah, other than that, both standard and special editions just come on standard black LP. Nearing the end within this vinyl collection part is going to be Urzeit, or Zeit. This is their only release they've ever done, I'm pretty sure. This was put out through, I think this is actually a self-release album that I was recommended to this by a friend, and when copies were still available, I think on their Bandcamp, I just bought it up. And yeah, it's just pretty good, explosive, aggressive black metal. There's really nothing much more to it. I haven't spun this in so long to the point that I honestly forgot I even had this album. But yeah, if you're a black metal fan, you'll probably find some enjoyment with this, and that's really about it. I don't have much to say with it. Other than that, with the layout and packaging, it's really bare bones. Just got album artwork, backside with band logo and track listings, and just comes with an insert sheet, one side with lyrics, other side with artwork, and again, like everything else within this part, just on a standard black vinyl. Second to last is going to be Uśkumgallu, which hopefully I said somewhat right, that being Rotten Limbs and Dreams of Blood. This is really killer black metal that's quite gritty, and I think the reason for it is because the two members of this band are also the same guys that do all the music for Vaal. And where obviously Vaal is a very gritty approach to death metal, I think they take that approach and just apply it with black metal, and that's where Uśkumgallu, which again, hopefully I'm saying somewhat right, is their approach with this, and it's really killer stuff. Just really gritty, aggressive, angry sounding black metal that I'm pretty sure the label that these guys run, that being this, which I think it's pronounced, which God, I'm gonna fucking butcher this, Varsublat, I think is the right way to say it somewhat. All those bands that they're a part of, they all kind of like self-release it under their label, but it's distributed through other bigger labels. But yeah, if it has that logo on it, get ready for some really gritty extreme metal, because these guys bring that style all the time with any band that they do releases with. But yeah, other than that, to where you can get this, maybe try $20 spin. I think I saw that once there, but again, like always, go to Discogs for your last resort. But as for the layout and packaging with this, you have album artwork, backside with track listings and a band photo, and just comes on a standard black vinyl, which I just wanted to show this one because all it's been within this part is just black vinyl. And the last record for this vinyl collection part is going to be the debut full-length album by Vaal. This is a black metal band from the Netherlands that plays in the style of just very raw, vicious black metal that really hits the spot when I'm in the mood for aggressive black metal. Pretty sure one of the members is the guy behind Old Tower, but that's all speculation, as you know, the guy from Old Tower and Vaal are both from the Netherlands, and they take ominous kind of pictures, but again, all speculation, so I can't confirm or deny that. But yeah, if you're in the mood for just kind of like raw black metal with a bit of like a punk aspect to it in terms of riffs and rhythms, definitely check this out. And other than that, I know he's done follow-ups to this, which I'm not that crazy for, as this is just very stripped down and straightforward. The follow-ups have more of like dungeon synth attached with it that just aren't really mixed and played all that well. Like, they're not like working off of each other's strengths. It's just more of like black metal then dungeon synth, black metal then dungeon synth. They're not, I don't know, they're not laced together all that well. And really the only band that comes to mind that does that approach good enough to give it justice is Erikar, but that's just me complaining about useless stuff right now. Anyway, other than that, Vaal, the debut full-length album, again, if you're in the mood for raw, aggressive black metal, definitely check this out. This was put out through New Era Productions, and I'm pretty sure it's long gone sold out. And other than that, I don't really know where to get this because it got blacklisted on Discogs for some really weird reason that I don't understand. But anyway, other than that, for the layout and packaging with it, it's very bare bones as you would expect with a raw black metal release. Just got album artwork, backside with track listings, comes with an insert sheet with just notes on one side and a band photo on the other, and just like everything else within this part is on a standard black vinyl. And that'll do it for this vinyl collection part. Like always, I'll leave links provided to everything I talked about in the description below, along with what was playing in the background. And other than that, make sure you guys drink water like always to stay hydrated, and have a great day.